The Callisto Protocol has some impressive characters. Of these two images, one is real and the other is not. Could you tell me which is which?
Yeah, one on the right is real. One on the right is real.
How'd you do? I had no idea a game could look this good. The amount of detail that has gone into the creation of these characters is remarkable.
One on the right is
full scans of the actors.
It's not there yet. It's getting good, but it's not there yet.
And even adding sweat to the faces, something that makes a lot of sense considering we are quite sweaty beings. The eyeballs feature ray tracing technology for reflections that really have the power to bring a bunch of ones and zeros to life. Whether you give the game itself the proverbial thumbs up or thumbs down, it's hard to deny how gorgeous it looks. And we'll get to that in a sec. For now, I'd like to talk about this evolution, because it's no longer a matter of we could see this in a game. No, we are already seeing this within current games. It feels like we're entering a parallel world and interacting with real people. Every movement of the eyes, every line on the face, everything draws you in and puts you under its magical spell. This brings me to the next point, a new term, digital doubles. This is the work of Ian Spriggs. Want a hint as to why it looks so realistic? Yep, y'all ready to see the future? As the name suggests, a digital double is a direct recreation of a real human being. What makes us look the way we do comes down to the bones, the muscles, blood flow, levels upon levels of anatomical human flavor. And his work is always aimed at capturing that. Making something that isn't real feel believable. Ian is one of many artists who want to bring about a revolution of new ideas and new technologies to challenge the uncanny valley. He is currently working with Unity, so let's hope we see the fruits of his efforts, and very soon.
Unity's coming along pretty nicely.
Imagine having an exact image of yourself captured in 3D, suspended in the vast expanse of the digital abyss. Now, much more than a simple 3D model, a veritable digital double which remains true to the details that make your appearance unique down to the last pixel. This is something we see implemented in codec avatars. And whether you like meta or not, it's hard to deny that this is some seriously impressive technology. For those of you who didn't see this video, this ain't a person, but like a fucking character in a video game. And it's probably the closest thing to teleportation we have right now. I personally like the idea of looking like this in a video game. But if you prefer to look like how you do in the real world, well, that is also an option, I suppose. I mean, Meta's plans for the metaverse don't just focus on games. If the dreams of Mr. Ice sleep in a rejuvenation tank come to fruition, you could be introducing yourself to a virtual reality meeting at work like this. And not as a Japanese schoolgirl, which seems like a wasted opportunity to me, but hey, it's your life. Seriously.
What world are we entering into, man? Like, where, like, essentially, like, people will just be able to make people who look exactly like you, create doppelgangers at the touch of a button, and then have them do crazy things. I mean, like, what kind of world are we building ourselves? Like, we're literally, like, what's real and what isn't at one point? That's such a great talking point. That's so interesting to me. Like, this technology is essentially erasing individuality in a weird way, you know? We're not going to know the real. Eventually we're not going to know the real from the fakes, man. I mean, doesn't that kind of give you guys pause? You know, what kind of world is that, man? Like, what kind of world is that where, like, you got to question authenticity all the time? And how do you go about knowing who is the authentic self correctly? A labeling system? And then what? What if somebody fucking hacks the labeling system? Like, essentially, we're pushing our own individuality out of existence.
Generation of codec avatars, and yeah, they're pretty cool. Not only do they look better, but check out those micro expressions. Being able to raise an eyebrow, narrow your eyes, wrinkle your nose, it looks much better than before.
Right.
Now, if you don't have
we're entering circus world. We're entering clown world.
Who doesn't have one?
We're literally entering clown world. There's so many cool technologies coming out, but that can be used great. But we're humans. We're not going to use it correctly. Why do we give ourselves so much credit? Why do we think we're so smart? are. We're humans. Like, this is what I laugh about when I see the biggest geniuses in the world start talking about AI and how everything's going to be okay. It's like, I don't trust humans. I never did. Most of you don't. I mean, look at us. Look at what we do. Why do we think we're the great steward of this technology when we know we aren't? You know, when we're assuring ourselves. The monkeys at the zoo are assuring ourselves that everything's going to be fine at the zoo. Like, what makes you guys think that we're going to be able to handle this and contain this at all? When I see really smart people talk about this, like Lex Friedman and plenty of the guests that he has on his channel when it comes to AI, and I hear them talk about it in a way that makes it sound very docile, and some of them understand the possibilities and the dangers. I think some of them out there do. But there's also other guys who talk about this in such a way, and women that talk about this in such a way to make it seem like it's very docile, like everything's going to be fine. And, you know, it's like, I don't trust humanity enough to make it fine. Like, no, I don't trust humanity enough to say everything's going to be fine, you know?
In these days, you still have an alternative option, although admittedly less technologically sophisticated. You can perform a simpler scan using just your smartphone. Interesting stuff, Mr. Sugar Mountain. Seriously, that's what Zuckerberg translates to. Look it up. We could say that this is the most realistic cutscene ever in a video game, but then we'd be lying, which means you would take me to liar's court, but I'd win because I know the judge. Hey, Aunt Becky. But Avatar 1 and 2 were shot like most modern AAA games, using motion capture. The highlight of The Way of the Water was that they looked at existing technology and said, you know what, we're gonna create our own physics engine, with blackjack and hookers. You know what, forget the physics engine. I'm starting to realize as I co-opt this 24-year-old Futurama joke that maybe their obsession with reinventing everything is part of the reason it took them 13 years to release a sequel. Anyway, their new tech is called Loki, and it was low-key essential to make this film work the way it did. They file patents for absurdly specific things, mostly related to water, and all these little infinitesimal details integrated into something that allowed scenes like this to be made. That's dope. I'll take a good look at this tall glass of blue milk. Would you believe me if I told you that it's been 7 and some odd years since the 2015 reboot of Battlefront was released? And it still looks better than some of the games being released today.
It's crazy to think it's been 7 years.
I don't blame Moore's Law for that. It is simply my contention that it was just way ahead of its time. So, pop quiz. Can you name one key reason why it's held up so well for so long? It's the environment, bruh. Yep. Photogrammetry. Did you know that the first game to make significant strides with this technique was a title from a small, independent studio? In 2014, an indie studio called The Astronauts unleashed a surprise on gamers with The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, where they presented environments comparable to, or even superior in quality to, those of AAA productions. Their secret was a technique where you take a bunch of photos and make 3D models by smushing said photos together, which promised to turn the industry upside down. When it comes to indie developers, there's one thing that never seems to change: the smell. I mean, they're visionaries. Visionaries who take frequent showers. This is a project made by the user 3 Dystopia. The first part is real. The second part is not.
Damn.
It's that Unreal Engine again. And the difference between the first part and second can be extremely difficult to discern at first. So here's what he did. He captured reality using reality capture software. That's its actual name, by the way. That's like naming your dog, Dog. Anyways.
Got some action on the screen, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Airbrusher. I appreciate your support, bro. And also, Suburban, welcome to the fam, man.
Scanning technology is amazing. It allows us to capture a cross-section of our surroundings and replicate at least a partial experience of what's out there. The level and quality of surface detail, weather, wear patterns, general imperfections. These are some of the core benefits of scans, and quite difficult to achieve through traditional
Lumen
methods.
and nanite are
Perhaps for this
fascinating.
reason, statistically, there has been an increasing interest in focusing on scans, as opposed to traditional methods.
It is.
But
it really
these
is,
kinds
man.
of endeavors
Do you,
are
too? That's
rare,
cool, dude.
Right? Very rare.
You like using it,
Super
don't
rare.
you?
Not even worth following up with an "or so we thought." Or so we thought. This is Le Ponier in Marseille, France, made by Peter Hervé. This is his first project, also achieved by means of reality capture and rendered in Unreal Engine 5.
It's so fantastic, dude. We are like, oh, this age that we're in right now. So
I'm
crazy,
sorry to my
man.
French audience. I love you. I promise.
Look what
believe me.
we've done, man. Look
Saying
what we've
something
done.
like this, I'm compelled to ask you a question. Again, what are the limits of photogrammetry? Not the technological limits, but
Good
instead,
question. Good question.
what are the moral limits? What are the legal and, most importantly, ethical ramifications of digitally depicting real-world locations? That is a largely unaddressed topic. Let's say you see a creep taking photos of your house entrance, and then bam, before you know it, your house is shown in Zombie Attack on Ohio Avenue. Actually, there aren't specific laws on the use of photogrammetry. You're practically operating in a legal vacuum, at least as far as we know. What would you do?
Right. Yeah, right, Red Bear.
But, yeah, I have to admit,
We are
it's
Aether. We're still
impressive.
here, buddy.
And I want to play it, because the level of
Longest
realism that
stream
photogrammetry
ever.
brings to gaming environments is exceptional. But that's also what worries some people.
You get it so real, right? And then you have like basically hardware that plugs you in, and you get transported, and you're feeling everything. You're in a holodeck, very similar to Star Trek, to the point where everything becomes absurdly real, to the point where you can't differentiate like the reality from the unreality, man. That's the crazy part. I was having a pretty cool talk with Christy about this. I should have recorded it. And then, like, at some point during the conversation, she turned over to me and she said, "Hey, honey, like, how do you know it's actually not happening right now?" And I was just like, this is why she's my girlfriend, man. She has these moments, man. She pulls me into these zones, you know what I mean? Like, right? I mean, I've actually heard people say, I've read some comments similar to that on the stream, and I've heard people have that as a talking point. But I don't know, for that particular situation, we were sitting on the couch, we had some candles lit, we were drinking some wine, feeling nice, having a nice deep talk, and I was just really in the moment. And when she said that, it was just so like, I was like, shit. Like, what if this experience I'm having right now is in fact that? And then I said, fuck that. Let's take off our clothes and have some awesome sex. And, you know.
Where are we heading? Avatar 2 has worked to solve the computer-generated water problem and revolutionize the medium. The Unity Enemies demo we covered in a previous video is now a library available for developers around the world to create more realistic humans. And Weta Digital, the company that originally made a name for itself by bringing Gollum to life in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and that same studio that handled the jaw-dropping way of the...
Listen, whether it's reality or unreality or virtual reality or whatever type of reality there is, as long as I'm having sex during it, I think I'm going to be okay. I think everything will be fine.
Water has managed to forge a collaboration agreement with Unity. So it will be exciting to see what new developments emerge as these two distinct media universes
not with
come
my
together.
hand. Not with my hand shielded.
Yeah, sometimes studios do spend too much time polishing the visuals as if this alone were enough to make a game successful. But compensating for the lack of character development and plot with excessive realism can ultimately render an experience empty and hollow. Concentrating too much on realism at the expense of other aspects of gameplay can reduce the intricacy and depth of what could have otherwise been an incredible journey. Because all these techie things like graphics, simulations, engines are just tools that we use to support the games that we make. And let's face it, there are 8-bit games out there that still get more playtime than even the fanciest of fancy-pantsiest of video games. Graphics quality and game quality are not the same concept. Yes, I do read the comment section, people. I know what some of you have been saying, but we're also, like, a cutting-edge tech channel, so just, okay? Okay, Ted? And as such, we often enjoy highlighting the tools that are available to make the next great games just as capable of looking as brilliant as their stories deserve.
Damn.
And of course, there is a place in the industry for both realistic graphics and also not so realistic graphics. And in this channel, we hope to talk about both.
Why does this guy feel like, here's the thing, why do these guys feel like they have to defend themselves against the trolls? What I don't like, I'll tell you something I don't like. When I'm watching YouTube videos and the content creators are trying to defend themselves against like the trolliest fucking comments in the world, like don't take the time out to acknowledge the fucking trolls. Be or do or create whatever you fucking want to do. And if there's trolls, just fucking ignore them and keep being you. Keep doing yourself. Don't give the fucking trolls any airtime. God, I'm really cussing a lot today. Really, there's way too much cussing on today's stream.